channel Trailhead Ranger NJ, and we are continuing the series of Apex Trigger real-time based scenarios which might be asking in interviews as well. So you can prepare from here. Some of the scenarios are very simple. We are just covering that on which object you should create those triggers, and what action you should use, that is before or after, or if it should be insert, update or delete, and then what are the best practices we should follow and how we can follow all of this. So we are covering all of this, and I am trying to explain at my best level, whatever I am writing on the trigger level, that what I am doing and why I am doing that. So in today's video we are covering a scenarios, that is whenever lead is created with lead source as web, then we want to have rating as cold, otherwise as hot. So in our previous video we have covered that whenever a case is created with having an origin as email, then we want to set its priority and status. But in our today's scenario, what we are doing, we are taking two conditions, that is if lead is created with lead source as web, then we want to have this field value as particularly this, but if not, then we want to have that. In our case scenario, that is in our previous video, in negative scenario we did not give any input, so there it's a change, so it will be very much similar to that only. So let's come to the VS code. So I'll be creating first trigger. Now you might be aware how to create trigger from VS Studio and how you can link your VS Studio to Salesforce. Or and if you are still having some doubt on that, please refer the video. I'll be pasting the link of that video in the description box, or you can search that on my channel as well. That is how to link your Visual Studio to the developer Salesforce developer or even how you can create a Salesforce developer org as well. That's also the video available in the description box. So I'm starting with creating an Apex trigger. I'll be giving its name as lead created lead source. Okay, you can give its name as anything, so I have given this. Now trigger is here. Now I'll change the standard object to lead, and we'll keep action as before insert only, because right before we are clicking on that save button while creating the lead record, we want to check for the condition and then update the record accordingly. And also we are working on the same object, that is conditions are checked on the lead object only, and even the update is happening on the lead object only. So that's why we are using before, and insert is clear why we are using insert operation. So now what I'll create a handler class. So as I have explained in earlier videos as well, that why we do this, why we create a handler class for trigger, why don't we write logic right here itself. That's the best practice we follow. We have all the logic written in the separate class which we will refer in the trigger here. So that's why I'll create the Apex class and give name as same lead created lead source handler. Now it's created. I'll just remove the constructor here, and I'll write the method, that is public static void and lead created, and it will receive a list of lead. New list we will give its name. So that is the list trigger.new, which we will be getting from trigger class whenever a lead creation will be happening, and we will receive here in this variable, that is new list. And yeah, so now we will call this class and this method here, but first of all we will check if trigger is operating on before operation, before action, and operating on insert operation only. Now we will call the class, and then we will call the method, and here we will pass the trigger.new list. So this is completed. Let's deploy it first. It might throw an error because the method is not yet deployed. So let's deploy the class here first, then I'll deploy the trigger again. In the meantime, let's start to write the logic. So what we will do now, we will loop over all the leads from this list, that is from lead new list. So now why we are looping all over the list, why not just refer the one record which we might be inserting? So we use the term here bulkify, that is we bulkify our code, bulkify our apex trigger, apex class, because in case if we are having number of records, then it might hit governor limit. But if we will use loop and everything properly, then it will not hit the governor limit and will perform the operation on all the records. So suppose we are working with one record and we have logic for one record only, then it will work fine. But if we are inserting number of records at once, suppose using data import or data loader, then it won't be able to perform the operation on all the records, and even it might throw error because the trigger will be existing on the lead object. So that's why we will do it for multiple record at once. So what we will do, we will check if the lead source is web. Check if the lead source is web. So we will check if lead source equals to web, then what we want to achieve, sorry, yeah, then what we want to achieve is we want to give rating as cold. So set the rating as, sorry, so here we have set the rating as cold. But if the lead source is not web, then, sorry, set the rating as hot. So that's how we have written the logic. Now let's deploy this and test it out on the Salesforce org. So it has been deployed accurately. Now we'll go back here, we'll go to the leads and we'll try to create a new lead. So we'll check both the scenarios. At first we will try to have, okay, Mr. Smith will try to have lead source as, sorry, this is the lead status, lead source field, yeah, here it is. So we will have this value as web, and if I'll save it, it should have rating as cold. Earlier you have seen that we have kept it as empty, and for all of the fields whichever are present here, you can modify the same thing for those as well. Suppose if the lead source is web, you want to populate the email, website, fax or anything with definite value, or even if from owner or something related to that. Now we'll create another lead, that is Johnson, and let's have company as Gmail, and we will now have lead source as not web, any other thing, any other than the web, that is purchase list. Let's have it, and if we will save it, we will be having rating as hot. So this is working fine. And yeah, that's it for this video. If you understand it, like the video, please like it and subscribe the channel. And if you have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you. Stay tuned.